Welcome to Global Health and Wellness Practitioners YouTube channel, where we're giving exposure and connecting great practitioners while providing a platform for them to leave a message and a piece of their legacy on. Welcome everyone, and today we have Michael Rosenbaum. He's a hypnotherapist. Welcome, Michael.
Hello.
He's a transformational hypnotherapist and alternative healer for over 20 years. And he helps people to get unstuck from unhealthy patterns and emotional upset so that they can live a life of a sense of more well-being and from their higher self. And he also helps, what he says is how the body is the temple of our spirit. So he helps the body to live more vibrantly through nutritional and natural health. What would you call it? Natural health. You're a natural.
Just solutions, different, making sure your body's living optimally. So when your body feels good, then it's much easier for energy to flow through it, for you to have a deeper meditation. It doesn't get in the way. It becomes an instrument of spirit rather than a deterrent.
Yeah. So if you would like to start and explain to everybody or tell the story of how you were inspired into your work and the shift in your path that it took you on.
Yeah, so we were chatting about that. Of course, many things happened in my life to lead me along the path. But when you asked that question, the thing that popped in my mind was going way back now, probably 40 some odd years. I was very interested in meditation and healing of some sort. I was just exploring, just getting my feet wet. And I heard this guy on the radio who was from India, and he was doing something he called sound healing. And I thought that was interesting. I lived in New York City at the time. He was at a studio in New York City. So I went to his classes, and I also started studying with him personally. And he would taught me a particular meditation process that had a lot of ritual to it. If I remember right, you got up at dawn. That was already a challenge. And then you lit a candle, rubbed some sandalwood, and, sprayed some incense. I don't know. There was a lot of things involved. And then there was a particular meditation he taught. So I was doing that. And one morning I had this kind of crazy experience. I heard a voice in my head. I knew it wasn't me because I wasn't thinking about anything. And the voice said, "Why don't you try this meditation today, this type of meditation?" And first of all, I thought, what the heck was that? Right? Where'd that come from? And then I said, well, what meditate? What are you talking about? And it gave me what seemed like a very simplistic visualization. It said, I think it said something like, imagine yourself at the center of the earth and imagine a line of light coming up through the center of your body and out the top of your head. Make that your focus, make that your meditation. Now, to me, that seemed very simplistic because I was doing what I thought was very complex meditation techniques. But I figured, well, if I heard a voice that said that, I owe it to myself to at least give it a try. And then I'll go back to doing what I'm doing. That was what I was thinking. But anyway, I try this thing and I feel this burst of energy move through my body like I've never felt before. I mean, it was outstanding. And I said, whoa, that really got my attention. And I said, forget the sandalwood, forget getting up at dawn, forget ringing bells. This was way more interesting. So anyway, I went along doing this meditation. Then I heard the voice gave me another meditation. Then I realized maybe I could ask questions. And I began this whole thing, which really started me on my spiritual path, led me to studying with Barbara Brennan, her energy healing process, which led me to regression therapy and hypnotherapy. So it all kind of, if I was going to pick one time, it kind of all started there, which switched my ability. And the other thing that I thought was interesting was it gave me my own personal experience from me. So I wasn't getting it from out there. And that
Yeah.
was a whole shift
Yeah.
in consciousness for me that, it's one thing to take a class and read a book and so on, but real wisdom or knowledge, I began to discover, comes from your own experience. So I started looking for things that would create an experience for me. And that's how I'd really learn and know stuff. And so that's so when I went on to have a practice, that was my main focus was, can I create an environment to have my clients have an experience so that they really knew or got the change or the shift or what they came there to get. And if they had the experience, it was way more powerful than me telling them even the exact same information. So that's
Yeah.
kind of all happened in that beginning there.
And it must have been like in your journey, how you work with people now, you must have cleared the subconscious and all the history of who we are, like you said, and then create the environment of a quiet space to have those heightened experiences.
Yeah, so that was been a long journey for me. So that's in the hypnotherapy. Why I liked it was that's what it does. It helps, at least what I studied, helps you find the root cause of your history and your patterns and why you feel the way you do, and have the power to shift them so you're not living from your history. Now, it's interesting, if I'm working with a client, this is one of the things we learn in hypnotherapy is that, and just basic therapy in general, I believe, is that you have to be able to go and look at those parts of you in order to take somebody else in their parts of them. So if I'm nervous about looking at a certain part of me, my client's never going to go there because they're going to pick up subconsciously or unconsciously that I'm not okay with that. And they just won't reveal that to themselves. So a good practitioner has to do their work. In other words, you have to work on you and clear you so that you can take other people to clear themselves also.
To be okay with all their depths of
Yeah,
who they
right. So I'm like, I've seen it all, bring it on. Nothing, I
are.
don't think there's anything that would freak
Shake
me
you.
out because I've seen all the things in me that freak me out. So I've been doing this for 20 some odd years. So, and I also belong to a spiritual school, and we dig deep and deep into the shadow or the darker parts to clear them so that you can let more light in. So I've seen so many different iterations of things that it doesn't, I don't have a fear of it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's good to look at those parts because it allows you to have some awareness and to make those changes. You can actually make the changes. I believe that 100%. One of my certifications is in positive psychology. And the reason why I studied that was because they study how the brain is mapped. And what they've discovered through their own scientific testing is that you're not stuck with the way your brain operates. You're not stuck with your history. It might be strong, but it's not hardwired. So you can change it. So that's really good news, right? No matter how bad you think it is for you, no matter how strong that pattern is, it can change. Your brain could remap itself. And that's what I study. I study how can I help you remap that? I'm always trying to learn new ways to do that, not just for myself, but for my clients, so they can change and transform. And the funny thing is, once you remove the noise and the patterns, what's left is your true nature. So I don't teach anybody about their true nature. You know
Right.
everything you need to know about your true nature, but you got too much stuff in the way, so you're not focused in that way. You're not hearing it. You're not experiencing it. So if we can remove enough of the noise, then if I do a process to make you connect with your soul or higher self or teach you about that, it's very easy because you don't have all this other stuff in the way. And then you have your own unique experience of it, and then it becomes long lasting.
And I love what you say. I'm not going to argue about my experience, what I learned from my experience. You've said that once
Right.
before.
Yeah, right.
once we have that experience, that's our knowledge.
Right.
That's,
When I have an experience, I could have tell somebody about that story where I heard a voice and they could, think I'm crazy. I don't care what they think. I had my experience. You can't negate that. It was so powerful. I'm like, well, that's what I experienced. You can think whatever you want about it. I don't need to convince you about anything.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I like that. And I like to teach people that so they have their own experiences and then they can move with that. They can mold their life around that. They don't
and
have to go get
honor.
somebody else's approval.
Yeah, yeah. So to honor that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, is there anything else you would like to leave people with, Michael, for right now?
Well, I guess for me, and this is just my path and might not be yours, but I have seen that one of the problems I have been in the spiritual circles for a long time, and one of the things I see that I see as a problem is that people don't want to deal with their issues, and they do what I call a spiritual bypass. Well, if I just meditate, if I just go to these higher realms, then I don't have to worry about my fears. I don't have to worry about my anger. I don't have to worry about my judgments and so on. And to me, that's the furthest from the truth it could be. And that if you deal with your ego personality issues, you will get so much further, so much faster spiritually. And even when I studied with Barbara Brennan, which was one of the first things I ever did, um, she was very clear about that. She said, you need to work on your stuff if you want to be an energy healer, because that's going to get in the way. And it was a 4-year course. And she said, if you want to belong to this school, you have to be in therapy at least once a month, if not more than that, to work on your stuff. So so that kind of opened my eyes. And if you're looking at, a lot of people think of the energy chakras, right? We have 7 chakras. And a
Yeah.
lot of people like me in the beginning, I just wanted to go in the higher chakras. That seemed like really interesting, right? I don't want to deal with the lower chakras. But what I found out that was very imbalanced. And Barbara Brennan in her school, she was very clear about the importance of honoring all the chakras, and they all have something to teach you, and clearing the energy in the lower chakras. Your ego personality is very much lodged in those lower 3 chakras. So um, I found that as I dealt with that, my meditations got much stronger. And I was able to, when I was in the higher chakras, have a much bigger experience because I was dealing with the ego personality stuff. I even have a process that I learned in one of my spiritual schools called Rohun, Rohun. So somebody can Google that and look that up. I love it because you go in each of the energy chakras one at a time in a session, and you look at the ego personality blocks that are in that chakra, and then we process them and shift them. And that gives you, it's like a rotor-rooter. It cleans you out of all your victim consciousness. It's like a 6 or 7 session process. And the people I work with that are willing to do it have really transformational experiences with that. It's like clearing out a whole lot in a small amount of time. If you're willing to be a searcher and you're willing to dig in and look at that stuff inside yourself and confront it, you can be really free. So I love doing that process with people. And I'm happy if anybody in the audience, Google it, see what it's about. Give me a call. I offer a free 15, 20-minute phone consult or Zoom consult to kind of talk about my processes, what you're looking to do, and you can get a feel for whether I'm a good fit for you. That's another tip I would give everybody who's listening to this, whoever you're working with. It's really important that you resonate with them. They could be the greatest teacher in the world. They could have the greatest processes, but if you don't feel safe and comfortable and resonate with them, you're not going to get much out of it. Very important that you feel really comfortable with the person you're working with, then you can let go and open up and receive what they have to offer.
Yeah. Good tip. Good tip.
All right.
So thank you, Michael, for joining
You
us
got
today.
it.
Short and sweet. It's perfect. The thing that you said they could look up is Rohen.
UN, Rohan. If you just Google that, the school that teaches it is called Delphi University, but they have some write-ups about it. You can, there's even books on it, and I have videos and things and write-ups on my website. So if somebody wants to go to my website and look up things, it's alternativechoices.org, not .com.org,
And I'll have that.
alternativechoices.org, and you'll put that in. Yeah. So feel free to visit that and look at what I'm doing, and happy to talk to you. And if we resonate together, then we can do some good things.
Thank you. And thank
All
you,
right.
everyone, for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Blessings.